So just how helpful were our family and friends?
Oh, yeah. Mine, absolutely brilliant. Couldn't have done without them. They were fantastic. My friends came to chemotherapy with me. I had all my girlfriends at chemotherapy.
Yeah.
My family were at home then when I got home. It was just fantastic. I'm sure it was the same for you, was it?
It was. And you know what really helped was the fact that everybody wanted to help me in some way. And I sort of thought about what would help me but would also help them.
That's
and
right.
I sort of looked at what people could do. And so, like, my husband was working, so he didn't come, like it sounds like with your family, your friends. He didn't come to any of my treatments, but a couple of my girlfriends who weren't working would come along. And do you know what? Even though it was, you know, obviously it wasn't great,
Yeah.
we actually, it was enjoyable because
That's
we
right.
had time together, we chatted, we did crosswords.
Yeah.
And it was special time together.
That's right.
And then when I went home, my husband was there. And then neighbours took care of the garden for me.
Right.
I got a cleaner, which
Oh, right.
was quite
Yeah.
important
Yeah.
to me. And my sister came and did the ironing. Everybody did a little bit of everything. And I think it really helped them as much as it helped me.
That's right.
Would you agree with
Oh,
that?
definitely, yeah. My friends, I felt sorry for them as well because
Yeah.
I felt this was, you know, for them, it was hard for them as well.
Absolutely.
And once I started talking to them, then they sort of found it a lot easier to talk to me. It made it easier for them and my family as well. And like you, I got a cleaner in, I got people in, people offered all the time to help me.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough with my husband, he took some time off.
Right.
And in the mornings we used to go walk on the dogs, and I loved that part of it. It's just something to take your mind off it.
Absolutely.
And in the evening then when the kids would be, I have a son and daughter, and when they'd come home we'd sit and talk to them very openly and honestly about it all. So I found it very helpful.
So were your children at home during it all?
My daughter was, my son was working, my daughter was at home for a good part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And how did you find that? I mean, when you were first diagnosed, what
That probably was the hardest part, telling
Yeah.
my son and daughter.
Yeah.
You know, you really don't want to have to tell them something like that. But we both explained to them that, you know, how it was going to go ahead and that I would be fine. And they sort of accepted it. And, you know, they helped me out as much as they could as well and talked about it. I really think the talking, you know, personally, from a personal point of view, I know it's not for everyone to talk about it, but I found it very, very good.
And so was that the fact? Because I mean, I think we've talked about this before and said that for both of us, we found it really important that we were very open from the onset with family
Definitely.
and friends,
Yeah.
particularly friends and,
Yes.
and also work colleagues.
Right.
And that, you know, we both made the decision to, as I say, as soon as we got the diagnosis, to let work colleagues know, to let
right.
friends know, to let family know, and say to them it is okay to speak to us. And I think I remember my husband saying, what we don't want is there to be an elephant in the room.
That's right.
Would you agree with
Yeah,
that?
definitely. And with my sister, I have a sister living in Ireland and my brother lives in Ireland.
Yeah.
And it's hard for them. My sister actually came over for one of my chemotherapy sessions.
Yeah.
But it's hard for them when they're away from you. But we talked on the phone every night, and I think that helped her as well.
I think, but this is it. This is it, helping, I mean,
Definitely.
helping you, but helping others.
That's right.
You know.
Making it a little bit easier for them as well as for yourself.
Absolutely. But I think what we would both agree is that the fact that we wanted to be open
That's right.
isn't for everyone.
No, it's not. No.
And I think this
No.
is where I think, would you agree that it's about everybody finding the right way
That's
to get
right.
through this?
Exactly, yeah. When you have help there, it helps you, you know, with your family and friends.
I'd agree. I'd
Yeah,
absolutely
definitely,
agree.
yeah.
And what about, I mean, for me, one of the big things was waking up in the middle of the night. As I used to say, the wee small hours of
That's right.
the morning, sort of 2, 3 o'clock in the
Yes.
morning, and waking up, and what do you do with yourself?
I know so many thoughts going on in your head and so many things going on in
Yeah.
your head. And I used to think, there's lots of things I used to think about, and I thought to myself, I have to write these down because by morning time I'll have forgotten about it, and I'll drive myself crazy during the day.
Yeah.
So I used to get a notepad out and a pen, just switch on my light and write down everything I was thinking about. And then in the morning, I have it all written there in front of me. If I had something to do, or if I needed to ring the clinic nurses or whatever, I had everything there. I knew in the morning then that I'd remember it, because it was written on the pad.
And did that help? Did that mean, by sort of writing it down, did that mean that you were able to go back off to sleep?
Yeah, usually I would go back to sleep, because if I'd get so annoyed if I didn't have the pad beside the bed.
Yeah.
I get so annoyed. I have to keep thinking about it, and all through the night I probably wouldn't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So I got this idea, I'm going to put a pad beside my bed.
I love that. You see, I never.
What did you do? Did you?
Well, I did something in a similar way. I didn't just lie there. I think the first couple of times that it happened, I lay there and I just thought, oh gosh, sleep's not going to come, and you're whirring away. I actually got up, and my husband would say that I sort of walked the house a lot of the time in those wee small hours. But what I actually did do was I actually would go and sit down at the computer in our study, and I would write emails to close family and friends. They were update emails. Now we look back at them and you could almost call them a blog.
Right.
But I would give update emails, and at the beginning I saw it as this being a way of me helping my family and friends.
Yeah, what a good idea.
Yeah, I thought, oh, this is great. I'm sort of helping everyone. Whereas in truth, yes, it was helping them, but the person it was helping more than anybody was me.
Yourself. Yeah.
Because I literally, in the dark, I found the dark of night and the quiet like a sort of like a protective blanket around me.
Yeah.
It was enveloping me, and I found it incredibly therapeutic and helpful just to sit there and type away.
Yeah.
And so after a chemotherapy session, I'd type away how it had gone. I would just type away about all these different things.
Oh, God.
And now I have got them all, and I can look back on them and everything, but they helped me immensely.
Yeah.
And my family and friends loved getting them. My brother in New Zealand, he said it was just so fantastic. They couldn't see me.
Of course.
They couldn't see me regularly, but everybody felt that they were updated. They knew what was going on. But as I say, I thought I was just helping them, whereas it was sort of quite a long way down the line that I suddenly thought, who this is helping? It's helping me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
And would you go back to sleep after that? Go back upstairs and go back to sleep?
I tended then I was very lucky. I have a conservatory, and I'd go and lie out in the conservatory because my husband was always worked very long hours, and he was getting up sort of very early in the morning, and by the time I'd be going back to bed, I didn't want to be waking him up before he had to get up to go to work and everything. But no, and I'd sleep in the day and everything.
Would you?
That helped me with my sort of emotions and feelings. What else can we think about that helped us with our emotions and feelings? Because obviously that's a huge thing when you've had a cancer diagnosis and you're going through cancer.
Yeah, I think probably with me just being with my friends, and my friends called round a lot. They were all on some of them worked different shifts, and them calling round and phone calls, and I think probably my husband being there most of the time. He was off for about 3 months. He took 3 months off.
So did you make that a conscious decision that you were going to do that?
Well, he did. He said he wanted to be off with me, but he just took the 3 months off work, and he was there all the time. And as I say, we used to go walking the dogs and doing different things during the day, go out for something to eat. Yeah. So I was sort of kept my mind occupied all the time.
Gosh, because the thing that helped me was that I the week after chemotherapy was always very tricky.
Right, yeah.
But by knowing that things would get better each day, it really helped me.
Right.
And so sort of from day 4, 5, I was definitely
Yeah.
feeling a lot better. And by day 7, 1 week exactly to the day after chemotherapy, we had a McDonald's Monday. Now, even though I had all these issues with, smells and tastes and, biting and binning
Right,
and,
yeah.
and, you'd bite
That's right.
something and then you'd spit it in the
Spit
bin,
it in the
basically,
bin,
because,
yeah.
you just thought, oh, gosh,
Couldn't
no.
taste it.
For some reason, I loved McDonald's.
Right.
And so we called it McDonald's Monday because the 7th day was always the Monday.
Right.
And we would get a Big Mac, a large fries,
Lovely.
and a McFlurry. And I would just luxuriate. And so when I'd had my chemotherapy, even though I felt dreadful, in my head, I kept in mind the fact that,
7
1
days.
day, 2
Yeah.
days, 3 days, I'm marching forward.
Yeah.
And by day 7, I'm going to have my McDonald's Monday. And what I would say to anybody is, you find your McDonald's Monday.
That's right.
It
Yes.
doesn't have to be that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what can be your McDonald's
That's right.
Monday?
Yeah.
And if I was suggesting something for anybody going,
Yeah.
through the treatments as we've done,
Yes.
I would say just whatever it is that brings you something to look forward
That's
to.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think actually doing exactly as the oncologist tells you to do, the do's and don'ts, really take note of things like that.
Absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
it's very important.
Absolutely key was having that honest relationship.
Yeah.
And, I said to you about when I went with my girlfriends would come to chemotherapy and Herceptin and all of that sort of thing.
Right.
And, and me saying that, in the dark times, there was a lot of joy and everything. And part of the joy was seeing the staff on a regular
That's
basis.
right, yeah.
Which
Well, they're all so friendly and they're lovely, aren't they?
they're lovely.
Yeah, there was the breast care nurses were very helpful with me as well. I
Yeah.
thought they were fantastic. I could ring them up any time of the day.
Oh, that's...
And if it was an answering machine, they'd always ring me back.
They would.
Yeah,
They
always
would ring
me
you back. Yeah.
So I found them fantastic.
And did you get to know, because obviously your time, I'm going back a little bit further for me. So now there are, I think, called the cancer nurse specialist.
That's right, yeah.
Cancer nurse specialist. Cancer nurse specialists weren't around with me, and I think
Right.
that, but obviously I did have people like the breast care nurse I could, contact.
Speak to.
But I think that now this is much
It's
much
brilliant,
more of a
yeah.
thing. I think there are more, and that means that you've got that close contact.
That's right. And you have a certain breast care nurse appointed to you, so you can ring her at any time.
Now that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's really good.
So that's somebody actually appointed
That's
to
right.
you.
And you feel you know them
Yeah,
personally,
yeah.
and they're lovely, really nice.
What helps you now? Because we're looking at how many years are you?
3 years for me.
3 years and
7 years.
7 years for me. So we're talking about 3 years and 7 years. What helps us now? I wonder.
I don't know. I think probably still talking about it every now and
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
For me, anyway, I still talk about it. Not as much as I used to, because
No.
sometimes you just want to move on. But
Yeah.
well, I've still got my appointments, and
Yeah.
I tell all my friends I'm going for an appointment, and then they ring me up that evening, and I think you have to try and get back to sort of a bit of normality as well.
Yeah.
You don't want it taking over your whole life.
No, I think for me it's been about acknowledging that there's a changing normal.
Yeah.
That that life changes.
That's right.
But it can change for many, many good reasons
That's
as
right.
well.
Yeah.
And I think that the knowledge that if I've ever got any concern, yeah, I know you're nodding away here because
Yeah.
you know what I'm going to
Yeah.
say here, that you can pick up the phone and contact.
That's right.
And I think that for me, when you finish your treatments and it's well documented, A lot of people feel that you've finished your treatments, you're sort of set off in a little boat by yourself. You've lost your support of everything.
Right, yeah.
And I think that the fact that I know that I can make that contact has given me tremendous confidence
That's right.
as I set sail a bit in my boat. So yes, I'm setting off and I've set off, but I have still got the support network there.
Yeah, and you need that. It's still very important.
Absolutely.
Because if you have any problem at all, you know, just pick up the phone, as they say, and talk to them, and then you're sort of quite content about it, whatever.
Because if we don't let people know,
No.
how can somebody help you?
That's right. Yeah.
Gosh, it's been lovely having a chat.
Yeah, it's great.
I know,
Really nice.
I know.
Enjoyed it.
Indeed, cheers.